This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis.
Barrett, some shake and bake, hits a three. Stands alive in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the land, backs him home. Keeps it on Barrett. Barrett for three. R.J. Barrett from down. Quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Look at the buzzer. Now it's gone. J.R. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Elliott to Ewing. That'll make the Garden War.
Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit.
Knox with the finish. And the foul. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Excellent ball move.
Houston ducks under. Got it! With 8 tenths left.
What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with episode 104 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. So, I hope everybody's doing well. I know this whole quarantine thing is just getting, well, at least to me, it just feels like it's, the days are just going by so slow, and it feels like there's just nothing that is, nothing exciting going on. No sports still, and we've got yet a ways to go, at least in my opinion, before this whole thing is over with, unfortunately. So I'm trying my best to stay sane. Life is just so boring right now, but hopefully I can bring something for you guys, something of sports and, just my own opinion and my whole, I don't know, if you guys want to check out episode 103, just go check that out on my website, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. You can find BD4 on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, where the video cast is, and plenty more outlets as well. Just go to my website, click on the tab called Outlets, and that'll take you to where you need to be at. Right on that page, that'll display my social media outlets, the podcast platforms, and how to subscribe to the blog. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Once again, episode 104, where we're just going to address some recent rumors that have been going on in Manhattan, New York of late, right, amongst the Knicks. A couple of things. A couple of things that have resurfaced, and things that really didn't surprise us. But the big one tonight, obviously, is the whole Donovan Mitchell thing, which I think is just so ridiculous. It blew up out of nowhere, in my opinion. It just didn't. I just don't feel like it's something that should be talked about right now in New York, because people are talking about the Knicks now potentially making a trade for Donovan Mitchell because of his relationship with Rudy Gobert. That's ridiculous. They will be fine. They'll make up. They'll be back on the court in no time, whenever it is that the NBA returns, and they'll be one of the Western Conference's best teams. So that's just something ridiculous. We're going to touch on that, and we're also going to touch on a couple of other matters that have been kind of popping up in the headlines of late. Julius Randle once again has popped up in the headlines when it comes to the Knicks. When it comes to trade options for the Knicks, and Leon Rose reportedly is open to trading Julius Randle, despite being one of his agents, I believe, his agent. So that kind of, made headlines, but in my personal opinion, I don't think that's anything that carries too much weight. And it didn't surprise me either. Why wouldn't he be, available in trade talks? Really, why wouldn't any Knick outside of Barrett and Robinson be available in trade talks? And even those two, if it were to so happen, those two wouldn't be traded unless we had a superstar offer on the table, like Mitchell. But that's not happening. I just think the recent, rumors and in the headlines and all that have just been nonsense to talk about, which is just, puff pieces, I guess you could say. And then Charles Oakley continuing his drama. In his latest rant, or whatever you want to call it, he kind of threw Patrick Ewing under the bus, saying that, don't quote me on this, I don't know the exact quotes, I don't remember, but he said on somebody else's show that, I don't know, something like Ewing wasn't the Patrick Ewing wasn't the right person to lead them, or he didn't, something like that shit. I don't remember the words. I don't really care. That's why. And it's just stupid. It was uncalled for. Oakley at this point just sounds bitter, just sounds so upset and just so bored, I guess, with his life. I guess he wants attention. I don't know. I listened to his interview. I listened to Charles Oakley's interview a couple weeks ago on another podcast that I subscribe to, Knicks Fan TV, where Oakley was pretty much just sounds like what I just said, a miserable, just bored, tired old man right now. He just doesn't have anything to do. Does he need help? That's what James Dolan said. And maybe for once in his life, James Dolan is right on this. And Oakley does need some counseling or whatever it is, because he just doesn't sound like he's in the right spot right now whenever he does say something to the media. But I don't want to talk on that too much. These are just some stupid little things that have been popping up lately. I figured I'd just stop in and give an update. But we've heard Tom Thibodeau's name once again Thibodeau's once again coming up in headlines that the Knicks are considering him heavily amongst all the coaching favorites or candidates. He's one of the favorites. Sure, I don't know too much. Coaching to me it's hard to judge coaching when I'm a fan of the Knicks and only the Knicks, so I can't really get to evaluate other coaches of other teams too much. But I know that Thibodeau's time with the Bulls, for the most part, before his later tenure, was very successful. He won a Coach of the Year or two, maybe, and just had them in the playoffs and competing for the most part. Then he went to Minnesota after his little stint with the Bulls, or long stint with the Bulls. He went to Minnesota. Things didn't really work out as good as they did in Chicago, so that was kind of the little stain on his resume. But it's hard for me personally to give too much insight on somebody like Tom Thibodeau, just because I don't watch the Bulls and don't watch the Timberwolves, so I never really get to see him in action coaching. But from what I hear, he's an old school defensive-minded coach who stresses effort and things like that. And, maybe he was more of a product of the personnel on the court. He had a Defensive Player of the Year. He had an MVP. But then on the flip side, some people think that he was the reason Rose won an MVP, and he was the reason that Noah was such a great defensive player. So there's there's two sides to this whole thing, and I'm kind of just in the middle, like I am with a lot of things sometimes, that I just don't know how much I could really give an opinion on when it comes to Tom Thibodeau or any coaching candidate for that much, really, because it's hard for me to pay close attention to other coaches around the league when I'm watching the Knicks for 82 games, unfortunately. But that's on that. We also have, again, this Randall thing. I don't think it's something that's going to happen. I think, the Knicks would have to find the dream scenario here to trade Randall. If you want to find a partner for him, you have to look at contenders who are looking for that third/fourth option, maybe a sixth man to come off the bench, and somebody who's willing to pay that contract, right? He's still being paid a hefty amount next season, and the year after that, his third and final year of the deal, he's only owed $4 million guaranteed. So still a little bit left to pay here. So if the Knicks were to find a partner, it would have to be a contender that is willing to pony up the dollars here. But I think he's better off the Knicks, Randall is, than on them, though, if we're being honest. I think I would love to find a partner. I just don't know if it's realistic. But Randall's one of those players where the casual Knicks fan probably love him, right? And they'll probably just see the 20-10 numbers, and this was the best player on their team. Oh, it's typical Knicks getting rid of their best players. Why do you think they suck so much, right? One of those. That's who Julius Randle is. He's perfect for the casual Knicks fan who catches 10 games a season, or a game or two every month. But for the fan that watches all 82, for the fan that invests his time, 48 minutes a night, like me, unfortunately, again, we realize that a lot of that production Randall gives is empty production, where the scoring binges are neutralized by his lack of defensive effort time and time again, where his numbers come late in the game where the Knicks are getting blown out or something like that. So a lot of it is very empty, much like it is with Elfrid Payton, much like it was, here's a better comp, and is Cantor. I like to compare Randall to Cantor, where he might give you a lot, but it looks good, although in the end it's not going to be very beneficial in terms of being competitive as a team, because he gives it back up on the other end, or he's just doing it in minutes that really when the game is already out of hand or just late in the game, it doesn't matter. So I think Randall is perfect for that casual Knicks fan who just reads off a basketball reference and shit like that and likes to bash the young core. But, Randall, in my opinion, he's better off on another team, a contender who needs a third or a fourth option, not a number one option, not somebody who tries to primary ball handle and acts as the point forward. I think he needs to be more of an off ball scorer, somebody who rolls at a pick and roll, somebody who sets the screens, somebody who shoots the ball only off of pick and pop or only off of spot up scenarios for the most part and not just dribble pull ups. Somebody who doesn't create his shots, somebody who's not often dribbling in the post and fumbling into the post and just clogging the lanes by standing there idle without the ball in his hands. He's better off somewhere else where he can play off the ball more as a, number 3, number 4, possibly a 6-man option. So I think if the Knicks can find that partner, it would be really, really beneficial to the young core so they can get more touches, they could have more ball time, more shot attempts, and better spacing on the floor for the Knicks, depending on who they get in return. People want Christian Wood, nice spot stretch 4. People want Lauri Markkanen, who's really like a modernized stretch 4. So we'll see what happens there, but I don't want to put too much weight into that. I really can't put too much weight into anything until the offseason actually begins because we're still technically in the middle of an NBA season. Now, who knows if that's going to return, but again, we're far from the offseason. We're far from free agency, far from the draft, and far from being able to look at the trade market right now. But that's that on Randall. We talked on Thibodeau. We talked really on Oakley. We'll dive into this whole Donovan Mitchell thing in just a sec. Real quick, we're going to take a break. But before we do take a break, guys, this episode is sponsored by Anchor. Anchor is a free podcast hosting platform that allows you to record straight from your phone, or you can do it on your computer, tablet, iPhone, whatever it is. But they allow you to record straight from it. Very convenient. They provide you with the ability to add your own sound effects for free. They distribute your podcast for you. So they'll put it up on Spotify for you, on iTunes, and all those different platforms. And guys, not only is it free, but they will even pay you just for reading an advertisement whenever you're recording a podcast. So guys, go download the Anchor app, or you can just go to anchor.fm to begin and join the podcasting world. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Guys, just want to make sure, if you haven't yet, please go to my website at nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Once again, go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. There should be a little option called Outlets on that front page. Click on Outlets, and that will take you to a page that displays all of my information. My social media outlets, how to subscribe to my blog, and how to subscribe to my podcast on the many different platforms we have. So once again, guys, go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Yeah, I mean, listen, not that I don't want Donovan Mitchell. I want Donovan Mitchell more than you do, probably. The Knicks have been stuck in this hole forever. The thing is, it's not going to happen because it's just some overblown narrative the media is trying to create. And B, it would probably require the Knicks just getting rid of their entire roster, and he would have no supporting cast. He wouldn't really bring much wins because he wouldn't have anything around him, and he would probably become disgruntled and one out. It's another Porzingis scenario. But again, this is not something that should be taken seriously because it's not going to happen. Donovan Mitchell ain't coming to the Knicks, guys. I don't know where this came from. I understand that he's having some relationship issues right now with Rudy Gobert because of the coronavirus, but it's something that I think will eventually be resolved, despite him being reluctant to fix his relationship. I think that's just whatever. I think at some point he is going to be fine, and they will get it together. They'll figure it out, and they'll be right back on the court, being one of the Western Conference's, again, top teams in the league. A very, very strong duo of those two. He's dropping 25 and 4 a night. Gobert's out there, grabbing 15 boards, scoring 15 points, blocking 3 or 4 shots. it would require RJ Barrett plus a hefty deal of assets and draft picks. I don't think it's going to require Barrett and Robinson, simply because I don't think the Jazz would want Robinson, just because they already have Gobert, who's an interior minded player as well. But again, this is not going to happen. Nobody's going to trade for Mitchell. And if there were to be a trade for Mitchell, why would the Knicks even be in consideration here? There are teams with much more to offer. There are teams that have it just doesn't fucking make sense, and it's really bothering me that this has just become some kind of a talking point. It shouldn't even be talked about, guys. This is nothing that's serious. I guarantee you, with it, whether that be in a couple of weeks, days, or even a couple of months, I don't fucking know, but it'll be all fine in Utah after all. What's his name? Mitchell and Gobert they'll be fine. The Knicks are not trading for him, okay? The Knicks are not doing that. They didn't get KD. Remember the whole KD Kyrie thing? Oh, Kevin Durant says he likes New York. Oh, Kyrie's liking New York Knicks Instagram shit. Maybe they're gonna, no. It's just this stupid shit. I've learned it. I've seen it in the past, not just with the Knicks. I saw the whole Machado thing, him liking Instagram posts, him doing this, him saying that, this happened and that happened. I just think all that is just unnecessary drama, unnecessary, fluff that we don't really need to focus on. But none of that's real. None of that's legitimate until I see something actually happening. This is not happening. The Knicks are not trading for Donovan Mitchell. Let me say that one more time. The Knicks are not trading for Donovan Mitchell, and the Utah Jazz are not going to trade him either. If it does, then hey, I will come back on here and do another episode, and we'll talk about the Knicks trading for Mitchell and how great they are going to be. But until that day, guys, it's not happening. Fellas, thank you so much for joining in on BD4 episode 104. This has been your host, Rob Carbone. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Not much to talk about, just a bunch of rumors and nonsense. But for those of you who have stopped by, I want to thank you. And for those of you who continue to support us, thank you as well. Like, comment, share, download, whatever you want. But remember to subscribe to BD4 on all the different platforms we have, such as YouTube, Apple, Google, SoundCloud, and many more. Go to my website, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Click on the Outlets tab, go there, and it'll take you right to a page that displays all the information you need to know about me. Guys, thank you so much. This has been Rob Carbone doing episode 104 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. And I'm signing out. All right, ciao.